Yo, what is up, guys? It's Cone back here again today from this weird hotel setup that I'm going to be at for the next couple days. But big Thunder news, the biggest Thunder news since Shea signed his extension, and outside of Shea getting extended, probably the biggest Thunder news of the offseason, and that's that Kemba Walker has been bought out by the Oklahoma City Thunder, going to sign with the New York Knicks, going to his hometown team, which I'm going to talk about first because I think that's a cool storyline. Kemba Walker grew up as a Knicks fan, and now he has the opportunity, while not getting paid as much as he probably would like to, he got the money in the buyout. Sounds like he's going to sign for around 8 to 10 million-ish dollars to go to the Knicks, be their point guard, and help try and bring them from a playoff team to a contending team. Now, does Kemba Walker and the pieces that they've added in this offseason quite do that? No, I don't think so, but it's still going to be a fun story, and who knows, maybe somehow the team really clicks together and they make some kind of playoff run. But for right now, it's just a cool story that he's going to end up in New York. And for a team that desperately needed a point guard, their only point guard was Derrick Rose, and he's more of a six man, I think, at this point. You need someone to start at that point guard position. That's going to be Kemba, and he's really going to help them out if he's able to stay healthy, is the biggest thing for Kemba Walker at this point in his career, because he struggled to stay healthy since the last couple seasons on the Boston Celtics. Ultimately, Celtics having to attach a pick to him to bring in Al Horford's contract, which shows you just how untradeable Kemba Walker's contract was. So it makes sense why the Thunder weren't able to flip him for anything this year. People are upset. People are saying, oh, well, we got Kemba. We didn't flip him for anything. It was a wash, whatever. That's not true. Getting rid of Kemba Walker through a buyout means that we open up a little bit more cap space. Now, given I don't know if we're going to do anything with that cap space because free agents are gone and guys really just don't want to come play in Oklahoma City, which is honestly just the truth. As a Thunder fan, I've seen it happen year in, year out. Even when we were a contender, it was hard to bring in role players to come play in Oklahoma City because they could just like go to LA or something like that, or some other contending team. Like, for example, when the Thunder were good, like the Miami Heat, they could go to the Golden State Warriors and be in California. There were other options out there other than the Oklahoma City Thunder, and that's just the reality of being a small market team. Free agents typically don't want to come your way. So the cap space for right now is just kind of a good measure. Maybe we could bring in some role players. Maybe we do throw an offer at restricted free agent Lauri Markkanen. That is still probably the biggest option out there for us. Maybe we do something like that. But we've got cap space if we want to use it. It also opens up opportunities for our young guys. Giddey, Shea, Trey Mann, Teo Maladon, Ty Jerome. People have been complaining that we've had so many guards on this roster, and I kept telling them, chill out. Kemba Walker will be gone before the start of the season. And some people were like, no, like, I don't know if we're going to be able to trade him. I don't know how we get rid of him. And this was always an option. I'm sure Sam Presti explored options to trade Kemba Walker rather than buying him out. Because if you didn't know, Sam Presti famously hates buying players out. He'll like never buy out a player. But not only did Kemba want to go to the Knicks, the Thunder really didn't want him on the roster because, like I said, he was going to take minutes from those young guys. So ultimately, I'm sure he did his due diligence to see if there was anywhere out there that wanted Kemba Walker. But with a robust free agent point guard market, even with a guy like Dennis Schroeder still out there that you could get for much cheaper than a Kemba Walker who isn't guaranteed to stay healthy for the full season, it makes sense why we weren't able to get rid of Kemba. Some people said we could have held on to him into the season or later into the offseason, but ultimately this was always the course it seemed like we were on. Like I said, the Celtics had to give up a pick with Kemba Walker to bring in Al Horford's contract, which Al Horford was good for us last season, but that's a massive contract. That shows you how little value at this point Kemba has on the market, and there's no way Sam Presti would rather buy a guy out than give up an asset to get rid of a contract. So Sam Presti's not doing that, ended up buying him out. He gets to go where he wants to be. We get playing time that we wanted. It makes sense for both sides, and ultimately it's a move that I like. It makes sense. Some people say I'm too positive in these videos, but this move just kind of makes sense. Now, would I have loved to get a pick for Kemba Walker? 100%. But if it's Sam Presti and he can't get a pick, then it wasn't possible to get a pick. It's just honestly the way that it goes. In terms of what the Thunder do now, I'm not sure. Like I said, we've got a lot of cap space. Getting rid of Kemba opens up minutes. I think our guard rotation now is going to be, it's going to be Shea and Giddey. Maybe Dort also starts at a guard position because I think Giddey could play a three. So our starting lineup at this moment, I think, is going to be Shea, Dort, Giddey, Poku. I would assume from the way that they seem to be hyping up his, they're holding him out of the summer league, and they seem to be hyping up his return in the regular season, talking about how he's been on a big offseason game plan. So hopefully he ends up in the starting lineup because I think he's part of our future. He needs to be in there getting some starter minutes. And then at center, one of Muscala or Derek Favors. I would start Mike Muscala, I think, just for the spacing of it, but could see us starting Derek Favors just because we're paying him $9 million. So I think that's what the lineup starts out as at the beginning of the season. I think Ty Jerome and Teo Maledon are the two guards off the bench, and there is our guard rotation. Ty Jerome could also play the 3 if we need him to. I think Tre Mann also gets cycled in there. Still a little bit crowded, I guess you could say, with the guard rotation, but ultimately there's going to be ways to figure out the minutes, and for a team that's not going to be very good, I think there's plenty of opportunity for us to cycle guys in and out to see what works, what doesn't, and who knows, maybe we do still end up trading one of those guard spot guys to clear up more room for everyone else. So those are my thoughts on the Kemba Walker move. In terms of what this does for the Knicks, like I said, I don't think it makes them a contender, but it's going to be fun, and it continues to add to a really, really competitive Eastern Conference. Kemba Walker joins Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, Evan Fournier is a guy that they just picked up, bringing it back Alec Burks. The Knicks are going to be good. They're going to be good again like they were last season, and they were a team that before this Kemba Walker pickup, I thought could honestly end up falling out of the playoffs just because of how many teams have gotten better. The Chicago Bulls, for example, the Charlotte Hornets are going to be really good. The Pacers bringing in a better coach in Rick Carlisle. It's going to be a really competitive Eastern Conference. I think right now, probably those borderline teams, like I think the Wizards end up falling out, losing Russell Westbrook, so that opens up a spot for one of those teams like the Bulls or maybe the Hornets or the Pacers. But it's gonna be a fight for any of these Eastern Conference teams to stay in the playoffs because there are so many competitive teams. It reminds me a lot of the Western Conference last year, where we're like, there are so many teams between like the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, the Rockets if they keep Harden. The Golden State Warriors were another team that was fighting for that spot in the West. The Suns, before everyone realized how good they were. There were so many teams fighting in the Western Conference. I think it's going to be similar in the East with the New York Knicks now continuing to get better. It's going to be a question of if Kemba can stay healthy. And if he can stay healthy, he's going to be a really good player for them at just like $8 million. So I think it's a good move for both sides. I like the way the Thunder's offseason is going. People complaining about us getting free agents or not getting free agents. We never get free agents. We're the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we're also rebuilding. We couldn't bring in free agents when we were good, so it's going to be tough to bring them in while we're bad. Maybe in the future, they end up coming to play with Shea, Dort, Giddey, the guys, but for right now, that's just not the case. So I'm interested to see what the Thunder do with the rest of their offseason. As usual, I'll keep updating y'all on here on YouTube. I appreciate you watching. Let me know what you think of the move for both the Knicks and the Thunder. I'll see you guys later. Real One, say it back.